Hello and welcome to the latest installment of Tour Talk. If you ever needed a deeper understanding of why we're all crazy enough to go on tour together, then this is the episode for you. So we're joined by Tobbe Strandvik from the Swedish band Kamchatka, and I'm sure it's clear to everybody listening that the three of us had a great time sharing some tight and borderline unpleasant spaces together whilst we were on tour. Tobbe is not only an incredible drummer, but he's the very definition of what we refer to as a good tourist. He was an absolute pleasure to be on the road with, and I think the fact that we look back with great fondness on some fairly unglamorous situations is testament to why we love doing what we do. He gives us an amazing insight into taking his positivity into every situation on the road, as well as how easy it is for one person to affect the vibe on the tour and bring the whole mood down. We find out what it was like learning to tour in Sweden, the origins of floor pizza, the correct way to listen to Meshuggah, the variances of playing in the studio compared to playing live, and what it's like developing and fostering relationships with other bands. I had so much fun shooting this episode with the guys, and I think it gives a great insight into the kind of friendships that you make while you're out touring. New episodes of Tour Talk go live every Monday, so please subscribe, comment, and like if you enjoy what you hear, and help us spread the word by continuing to share this with anyone you think will enjoy. This is Tour Talk. All right, are you ready for this?
I guess. Yeah.
Can you see him? I can't see him.
I can.
I can see him. Tobbe, you.
Hello. I can't hear him though. Connect your audio.
Oh man.
It's connecting.
I'm glad this has cheered you up like immediately because you have been fucking miserable for the last 10 minutes. Yes, Tobbe.
When I went in, I couldn't connect to you guys. I was like, and then I didn't have any sound.
But where have you been?
I've been here all the time.
Oh,
but
man.
I wasn't invited until now.
Oh, you didn't invite him in again. Oh, shit.
Nate's nearly killed himself. He's been so miserable. You know how impatient he is. He's just been sat here, like, waiting for you to join. We've been trying to call you and everything. And, yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, but I'm on flight mode. I did exactly what you told me, Dario. So, but now we're all good.
Honestly, Tobbe, before we even started, I was like, this is going to be my favorite one of these that we ever do, like, without a shadow of a doubt. And already, it's the best one we've done, like, easily.
It's my favorite one by far.
100%.
I'm sorry
100%.
to all the other guests, but this is the happiest I've been doing this show. Usually
Tobbe,
it's just a labor, but now it's a labor of love.
Welcome to Tour Talk. I'm so happy.
Thanks. I'm kind of happy too, man.
Look at Nate's face. All right. Like I said,
This is amazing.
Yeah, since Nate said that you were going to come on and do like one of these for us, I have been really looking forward to this. Like, mainly because like you're the first guest where we've actually all been on tour together at the same time, which is really cool. And you are possibly the happiest, best tourer I have ever been anywhere with.
I just remembered.
I guess I have to say. I guess I have to say thank you.
No, absolutely.
I just remembered the three of us in that crazy hotel room in France when I don't even know where it was, and it was a plastic bed and there was no air conditioning. It was in the middle of like July, and we all had, and everyone was in their fucking underwear because it was so hot. Oh my god.
But what you're forgetting is that...
And like, the van was plugged in. The van was plugged into the hotel through the lobby because the battery kept dying. Oh, my God.
That was in Paris, right? That was in Paris, on the outskirts of Paris. And
yeah.
It was an Ibis budget hotel, right? I mean, this is how glamorous our touring life was. But it was in, like, a suburb of Paris where, like... So the outskirts of this hotel, like, it was, like fenced with like barbed wire on top of it. It was like
My stomach hurts. My stomach hurts from laughing.
Who was the travel guide for that booking of the hotel?
Oh, don't even start, because like Nate asked me to come and tour manage and then insisted on booking every hotel on the day that we needed to stay in it. It was an absolute fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it was.
However, just to set the scene, you can imagine we're going to go do a show in Paris. Amazing. Sounds really cool, really glamorous. And we roll into this suburb where this hotel is. And it looks rough anyway. And then your hotel is surrounded by like metal fencing with like barbed wire on top.
But it was because the hotel was half of it was a hotel and the other half, I mean, it's not funny, was a refugee center, like where they put people in between becoming citizens. You know, they came from some war-torn place. And we did buy hash from someone there.
And we shared a room, the three of us, and it was one of those family rooms where it was a double bed with like a bunk on top. And you're right, it was the middle of July. It was like 30 odd degrees out. We had that fan on constantly. You were miserable. And did we not go like eat in like the best worst kebab place I've probably ever been to?
What was it?
It was chicken.
Oh, it's chicken.
It was a chicken place. Yeah.
Wasn't it called Mr. Chicken?
Yeah, something like that.
But it was very delicious. It was one of the most delicious fried chickens I ever had.
It was very good. So, Tobbe, out of all the tours you've done, where does that experience rank for you?
That was a. I shouldn't say that I forgot about it, but now that we're talking about it, it's getting back to me, and it's fantastic. It was a great tour overall, and I mean, that was a very good night. Come on, Nate! I can't look
The
at
battery, dude, and the battery kept dying. The battery kept dying in the van, and it would go hours without working, and then the van it would magically start. Or we'd be one time, what city we were in Germany. Yeah. And we were in the middle of that city
in Cologne.
Cologne, and just going up to random people. They were in a fucking bar, and our van was on the street outside the bar, and we would randomly go. We would go into the bar and say, "Listen, we have a very long extension cable. We need to plug our battery into the car, into the wall," and eventually it started, like out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that was one of those like electric battery charges because our battery kept going flat. This is my van, by the way, so I don't know why I'm laughing. This is the vehicle I brought to do this European tour with that constantly died. But going back to Paris, because like what got me about that whole thing was, one, the gig was great. Like it was, really cool gig in the center of Paris. That was awesome. But we went from like staying in this place that was questionable, going to do a really cool gig in the center of Paris, and then in the afternoon we went and walked around the cemetery. Is it Père Lachaise? We went and saw like Oscar Wilde's grave and Jim Morrison, and I just think like of the like the like where you can go from and to, like, of being on tour within like 6 hours. Like, we're sat at Oscar Wilde's grave, and then we're sharing an Ibis budget hotel room between the three of us, and like sweating profusely.
Yeah, but Nate is always sweating. He always goes on. I need a fan. I must have a fan. I'm going to the reception. I need a fan.
I sleep with a fan every night, even at home. I have to have a fan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm glad we've all relived the trauma of that tour, and specifically being in Paris together.
It was great fun, though. I think we had a lot of fun on that tour.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I haven't met you guys in 10 years before that tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I met you in Gothenburg just a few months before, I guess.
Oh,
when you played with CKY.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
then
it's coming back to me now.
Yeah. And it was great fun to meet you guys again. And then just a couple of months later, I think you emailed me and asked if I could go on a tour with you guys. And I was like,
what a huge mistake that was.
For you or for me?
For you.
For you.
For me, it was a I I would say there's 2 drummers in the entire planet that I feel privileged to have played with, and one of them's John Paul Gaster from Clutch, and to me on the very same level and the same enjoyment is you.
Thank you. You're way too kind.
Yeah. Do you want to explain?
I'm just saying that because you're on the episode right now. If you weren't here, I would never.
I know.
Do you want to explain to people, like, obviously you were a fan of the band Tobbe's in and to begin with, and then asking him to do the tour?
Yeah. So I first met Tobbe in 2007.
7
2000,
or 8.
2007 or 8. We had just, for the very first time, just started touring with Clutch as an opening band, and Clutch had brought Tobbe's band Kamchatka, who is one of my absolute favorite bands of all time, one of the grooviest, bluesiest, heaviest rock bands, just one of the best. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a Swedish power trio blues rock, and
it's like a Swedish meatball.
They're absolutely one of my favorite bands ever. They've put out about 5 or 6 of my favorite albums, and we got to embarrassingly go on before. I mean, thank Christ we went on before you every night, because to go on after you guys that's my nightmare of all nightmares. I can't ever think of a band that I would not want to go on after. So we got along really well, and I remember a couple things from that tour. It was in the South. We did some Southern dates with you guys, and 3 things I remember specifically. 1, you guys were the absolute funniest group of people. Your sense of humor and our sense of humor lined up very quickly, and that sense of humor is not for the faint of heart.
No.
That sense of humor is not for anybody who takes things too seriously. No. The second thing I remember is that at one point, after like 24 hours of knowing you, you told us how stupid Americans were for having their power lines above ground. And third, I've never seen a band try to find so much sushi in places in America where you should for sure not be eating sushi. Just as far away from water as possible, trying to eat sushi.
Canned fish, boy. That's what you're getting.
Tobbe, do you remember meeting Nate?
No. Of course I do. But I can't exactly remember the first show. Was it somewhere in Florida? St. Petersburg or something like that?
I think it was St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
And you guys were doing Whipping Post with JP on drums next to you every night, and it was just fucking. I remember seeing that for the first time and being like, "Ooh, maybe the person that's playing drums with us is not as good as they should be."
You've had great drummers.
We've had pretty good drummers, but I would say the best 2 drummers that has ever played with Lion Eyes has been you and John Paul. And touring with you, I feel like, Dario got to see it firsthand. I feel like it really elevated our musicianship from the last tour that Dario saw us do to you. You know, it was night and day.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I mean, you were there.
Yeah,
you
but
saw it and you played.
I did, but I couldn't catch the intro to that one fucking song because you changed the drum intro every night, and I couldn't hit it.
Dario has trouble counting between 4 and 8.
But we play guitar for a reason.
That's how good a drummer I am. I don't know when to start the song. I mean, I don't think we should blame you, Dario. I think it was up to me. Like, oh shit, is it now or am I gonna wait a bit longer?
This is why I love you. Like, can we just tour all the time, please? Wouldn't that be really cool? Like, you're the antithesis of Nate, completely.
Why? Because I have high expectations, and Tobbe is a fucking nihilist and doesn't care. It doesn't care if the stage catches on fire and everyone fucking dies and he goes down laughing. I have concerns for the show.
But I like in general though, like you are quite. I won't say anxious, but like you overthink things a lot. And whereas honestly, Tobbe, one of the most refreshing
100%.
things about being on tour with you was that you literally live in the moment. You like people talk about somebody being a good tourer or someone like being pleasant to be, like that would 100% be you, because you have fun the whole time from what I've experienced anyway. And for me, when I go back to all of this, that's exactly how I want to do it. Maybe not 100% Tobbe, but at least like a 75 to 80% level of Tobbe would be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, after all, being able to tour and play music, I think, I mean, what you do most of the time is riding in a van or a bus or whatever it is. And that's not the most enjoyable thing you can do, but at the same time, you're not there for the bus ride. You're just there. It's just part of the thing. And why not just make fun of the whole situation, sitting 6 guys in a van?
Do you remember
in and day out.
When I pulled up and I rented the wrong car for that tour?
The second small tour we did. My God, Dario, you should. I wish you were there, because we would have had a bigger van.
I thought I rented a minivan, because in the States, when you rent a minivan, it's like you could fit 9 people in it, no problem.
Yeah.
The UK minivan was meant for 4 people, and we had 6.
And gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's those magical moments on tour, because I remember distinctly. I'll never forget that tour. We were riding one night after a show. Maybe we played it in Lincoln, and the show was actually really great. We played this old church, and we were riding from it.
Yeah.
And you said to everyone in the car, "Have you heard of Daniel Norgren?" And nobody in the car had heard it. And you put on this song from this record you played on from this guy in Sweden who we had never heard before. And it was one of those moments where you hear something for the first time, and it like touches you deeply. And I don't think that would have felt the same in a Sprinter van or a tour bus. You know, it was just one of those intimate moments. And then I do actually believe that immediately after that, I think you put on.
I didn't put on anything. It was you.
It was the black metal, the Swedish black metal band. What band was it?
I can't remember. There was a lot
it's
of
the band where the guy blew his brains out.
Okay, Mayhem.
Mayhem. So we went from this beautiful, we were like riding through the English countryside, the moon's out, it's foggy, little rain's coming down, and there's this beautiful Swedish folk singer, jazz guy, blues guy named Daniel Norgren. He's playing this beautiful song. And then immediately after that, Tobbe put on Mayhem and explained to us the story behind that. So that was just one of those moments I will never forget from tour.
I will come back to this, because I've got a moment where Tobbe put something on in the van too that will live with me forever. But just to round that off, like,
I don't know that we should talk. I think that should stay for the van. That's my personal opinion.
Well, we can always edit it out if we need to.
Oh,
we'll see.
I'll be writing Rob an email right after the show.
But that attitude, is that how you've always been, or because I mean, you've obviously toured a lot. Like, have you always been like this positive and happy-go-lucky when you've been out, or have you had to make the most of so many bad situations that you may as well go in smiling anyway?
Yeah, I mean, from having a lot of not exactly shitty jobs or day jobs, but working with a lot of negative people I just realized when I was around 18 to 20 years old, and I worked with a lot of older guys that were just angry and miserable all the time. And I promised myself, I'm never, ever going to be like that. And besides, like I said before, I just love playing music. And therefore, the touring is fun for me. It's not fun to ride a car or a van or a bus, but it's fun to tour. And when you're in a group of people that you really like and you get along with, it's so easy, because most of the time you're just laughing and having fun and doing crazy shit and talk a lot of nonsense in the van. And what's so bad about that?
Yeah, it's great. he sums up what I love most about tour too. Is everybody has those moments, I think, where it's more difficult for them personally than other people around them. But for the most part, touring with Tobbe is always very fun. Very fun.
I mean, it really stood out to me because I was in between working for other bands as well, and I wasn't having anywhere near as much fun. And then doing that maybe 3-week stint with you guys, like, really rammed it home again. Was like, oh, this can be fun. You've just got to do it with the right people, and it doesn't really matter at what level. It's about the people, and that really like opened my eyes again to like, why are you doing this? And you're not doing some of these other shows for the right reasons. So you need to kind of sort that out. So thank you both for that, I suppose.
We were on tour also. That was the co-headline with Planet of Zeus, right?
Yeah.
So the camaraderie on that tour, that was just like 12 of the funniest, best people you could ever put on a tour, going around Europe and going around England and just being maniacs.
I mean, you guys probably remember we were taking the ferry across back into Europe after being in the UK. And for anybody who hasn't done the ferry like that, but you queue in a big long line of cars in a giant car park, and we happened to pull up in our queue, and like there's Planet of Zeus, and like the next row over, like shirts off, like van doors open, like making those Freddo espressos,
frappes,
and we're all just sat in what should be a really miserable place, like too hot, like tarmac, but we're all just sat waiting in these queues, having these chilled coffees, having a really good time for an hour. Like, that's kind of the psyche of it for me was completely different to a lot of other tours I've done.
Yeah, the Greeks definitely brought Greece on tour with them. They definitely brought that. They didn't give a fuck, and that was a great time. And I remember actually the show that you had to leave before we headed to Germany. That show in London for Desert Fest, and I'll say this now, I don't really care, but the organizers of Desert Fest were basically doing us a favor by putting us on the bill. They didn't really want us to be on the bill. Planet of Zeus was a featured band on the bill, and they basically stuck us in this, what I would call the worst room at the festival at the worst time. And it was one of those rare moments where things really worked out for us, and for whatever reason, at that time, a shitload of people came to the show and basically sold it out. You couldn't walk, and that ended up being like one of the craziest shows I remember playing on that run. It was just wild. It was just a wild time.
I've never seen that. I've been to there like just for drinks and stuff. I've never seen that bar that full. It was epic. That 30-40 minutes that you guys played in there was epic. Yeah.
I remember that one because I've had drinks there before, and that didn't end well, but this time was way better. So all good. So I'm just going back a little bit to the fun part of touring. Like Per, our bass player in Kamchatka, he's been touring a lot. He's been in bigger bands before, and he always says like it's good to have like not only the band but everyone who's on the tour has to be in the same mindset, like, because every now and then you get a tour manager or someone in the crew who doesn't really want to be there or don't appreciate being there, and then that one person can really mess up the whole tour, spreading a very bad vibe across the whole tour.
That's also really rough in a situation when you're in a band. I've been there where there's 3 guys who are into it and there's one guy who's not.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that one guy's talking to another guy, and the negativity, you're right, it's like a cancer. It just like spreads, and by the time it's all said and done, it's just miserable, and you can't even enjoy yourself, because the whole thing, I think people forget too that when you're a musician, you're there to create the vibe. I mean, that's why people come to see your fucking band. Yeah. There's a million people that play drums and guitar and bass and sing. There's millions of them. but it's the vibe that you bring to the venue is why people are coming. So that same vibe has to go. That's 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that? If you can feel that on tour, how do you try and either counteract that, or do you ever talk to these people or try and figure out what the issue is, or is it always something so deep and underlying that it's not fixable?
No, I think, I've been pretty lucky this far on tours. When we tour with Kamchatka, we have a really small, we're just the band, the three of us in the band, and one extra guy with us. The last couple of tours we've done, it's just been the band. We do everything ourselves. And we get someone at the venue who take care of merchandise and stuff like that. And mostly we tour in Germany. And the house guys for sound are really good. And they know, since they work so much in the clubs, they know how to deal with the sound and stuff. So we don't bring a lot of people on tour. And therefore, we can pretty much choose someone that wants to come along and that we might even know that person. And then it's kind of easy to just, to get along and have a good time. What's there not to like? You do a show, you have a couple of good beers and you go to sleep and you go in the van. You shouldn't make it any harder than it is.
Love it.
Yeah. Anything from you, Nate? Ever experienced a thing that you couldn't fix, like a internal issue or
the thing the thing that gets really complicated is that none of us are normal. Right? So you're not dealing with six guys or girls. You're not dealing with six guys or girls that get in a van together and they're fucking normal people. You're literally talking about the people who decided that instead of conforming to this very specific, easy way of life and going to college and getting a job and going to work every day at the same place from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and coming home, and that the thought of only doing that and not being able to play music terrified, even in this conversation, the thought of that terrified the three of us so much that we literally decided that a better idea would be to get into a metal fucking tube and drive around the continents of this world performing in nightclubs for the adoration of strangers. Think about how mentally disturbed we are. So when you take that into the context of a group of people, right, you put all those people into a situation, you're going to have personalities that are volatile. You're going to have personalities that like to drink and do drugs. Not that I'm one of them, or not that Toby or you, none of us are that people specifically. But so those type of personalities generally tend to have more complicated personal things happening in their, can tend to have personal lives that are complicated, or their own emotional situations that are complicated. Mm-hmm. So the odds that you will have someone like that on a big tour is 100% going to happen. And it's just about how you control your own emotions, but it is really hard. At the same time, people like you and me and Toby were artists, and our hearts are always open, and that's how you get good at playing with other people on stage, is that you're always listening with your heart and your ears. Mm-hmm. And being open to those things also makes you very susceptible to feeling the bad vibrations quite easily from people when they're not feeling good.
I think that was a really lovely and articulate way to put it at the end there, man. Well done.
Well, that'll be the last smart thing I say for the whole show, so enjoy it.
Thank God it's over.
Soak it up.
Oh my God. I was just sitting here. I almost fell asleep, man. Come on.
Wow.
No one is funny, and this is the best. No one is this good. I feel bad to everyone we've had on thus far because no one's been this funny.
Yeah. So I know that Nate, you did a little bit of touring in Sweden like early last year, like before everything went to shit.
Yeah.
But I can imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like, kind of growing up and learning to tour in Sweden, because like, especially with one, Sweden's massive. Like, people don't really understand how huge Sweden is. Because I mean, I've done shows in Sundsvall, and there's still like half a country to go. Like north of that, like God knows who's up there, but there's still, you must have like done these drives and been to these places, like. And then there's the daylight thing, that in the summer it's light all the time, so you're driving home in like daylight, and then in the winter it's pitch black all the time and miserable. I don't know. It must be just a completely different experience, like learning how to tour in that, and then coming to the States or the UK where it's normal-ish. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But no, but to be honest, it's not that easy to tour in Sweden. I mean,
No.
more and more clubs are going away, and not. I mean, we haven't played that far up north. I've been skiing far up north in Sweden, but but not much touring. I mean, we hardly play any shows at all in Sweden. We play Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, and every now and then we play our hometown that is a little bit south of Gothenburg. That's pretty much what we can do here. Mm-hmm. And also, we just think of it like, if people want us in the rest of Europe, in UK, we're going to go there. If no one wants us to play in Sweden, why should we stay here and play for no one?
Sure. I was kind of more coming from like when you're like just starting out, and like you're like 16, 17, and you're all just like throwing stuff in a van and trying to find clubs up and down the country just to go and play and just to kind of learn what you're doing.
We've that I have done, but I mean, like you say, as soon as you come above Sundsvall or something like that, that's half the country. Above that, there are some bigger cities far up north, like Umeå and Piteå and whatever. A lot of, and there are students' town and really big music cities as well. So there's a lot of music going on there. I mean, Refused are from Umeå, I think, and so is Meshuggah. So two of the biggest hardcore bands from Sweden are from up there. And there's a lot of, they have great schools for music up there, and a lot of stuff is going on, but it's so far.
Yeah.
Like I live pretty much in the very southern part of Sweden. I got about 2 hours down to Malmö to drive. It's 20 kilometers, but up to far north, I mean, it's too far to even, we have to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take us 2 or 3 days to drive there. 2 days, I think.
So is that stuff that you guys ever did, like when you were younger? Like, because
No.
I mean, Nate has driven back and forth over the States, like in like 36, 48-hour chunks without even thinking about it. But
yeah, but it's because there are more shows to play in the States. You can pretty much play in every little village you have. Like for us, it would be like we can tour or play on our way up to Stockholm, and then after Stockholm, maybe some places like Uppsala is a big city, and then it gets way more difficult. So, and when you're in Stockholm, it's just 1/3 of the country pretty much, and all the bigger cities are south of Stockholm. So you pretty much just travel around the southern parts.
So was there plenty of shows like in that small chunk of Sweden to do, like that were accessible, or was it hard to?
Back when I started to tour and play music, I think it was better than it is now. I think I'm not sure, because we like I said, we hardly play here anymore. But yeah, there were a lot of clubs and stuff going on, like 2-hour drives or 3-hour drives.
Amazing.
So it was kind of cool. It was good in the beginning, but it was mostly like, okay, so we do this city Friday or maybe 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or something like that. So it's pretty. It's not real touring. A Swedish tour these days are 5 days.
Yeah.
Like some of the biggest bands, like for instance the Hives. I think it was them or Mando Diao or something like that. Okay, Swedish tour is coming up for whatever band it was, and it was like 5 dates. Their hometown, sort of north, and then Stockholm, Gothenburg, somewhere in the middle, and then Malmö, like 4 or 5 shows. And then they continue down to the rest of Europe and UK and stuff like that. So that's the Swedish tour. It's 5 dates.
They're great shows, though. I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
Swedish music fans are incredible.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. No, but I think it's easier for you to say than for me.
Yeah,
Like-
that's like if you told me about American fans, I'm like, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah,
They're okay.
because you see it all the time, so you can't really compare that. Are they better or worse than anyone else? But
So when you actually got out of Sweden, like for the first time, like where did you go, and did you find it different, like culturally, or just how stuff was run, or like all of it? Is it different, or?
yeah, I don't know what to say, but because we have a German booking agent, so Germany was the first place to go. I mean, we played in Copenhagen or somewhere in Denmark, but most of the time the Swedish stuff we fixed ourselves. But then we got a German booking agent, and therefore we aimed mostly at Germany first, and it wasn't that very. Of course, it was different because he took care of all the hotel bookings and stuff like that because it was easier for him. He did it as a part of his thing that the promoters booked the hotels for us, which can be
Great.
really good or sometimes less good.
You saying that they don't always look after you?
Yeah, he is, but the promoters. But no, it wasn't very different. But I mean, like, it's with the question about the audiences. I think German or European audiences are better than Swedish. Especially, I mean, if you're Americans always get treated like rock stars, no matter how big or small the band is. Oh my God, the Americans are in town. My God, we better shape up.
I've never experienced that, but I hear it happens to people.
Yeah, but you just said that the Swedish audience were good.
Yeah, well, in Gothenburg at Sticky Fingers, that club is like known all over the world for being like a great music rock club.
Yeah,
And it really is.
it was. It's no longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they
When
closed
did that
down.
happen? Pandemic?
I'm not sure it was because of the pandemic.
Jesus Christ, that sucks. That place was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a true rock and roll place. I mean, a lot of great bands. I mean, the first time we ever played with Clutch, we did 3 shows in Sweden with them, and we played Sticky Fingers, and it was great.
Packed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't think they're going to continue with that. I think the club is still around, but I don't know if it's going to be a lot of live music going on. I'm not sure about it, but what I heard is that they closed down. Yeah.
I think this is quite a good point to kind of segue, because you're the first person on here who's actually who's been in a different country to like either the States or the UK that we've interviewed, and how things have been affected differently for you guys compared to us, because I know that throughout they've tried to keep bars and stuff in Sweden open to like a minimum capacity. It's like 50 people or something were still allowed out into bars, and there were some like small shows and stuff still going on.
Yeah, for a long time it was, but now I think it's no shows at all. I mean, football games or soccer games, Nate, for you are
Thanks.
What?
I know what fucking football is.
Yeah.
I know what it means when a European person says football.
Good. Who knows?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but no audiences whatsoever. And if you go on just to eat in a restaurant, you're allowed to be Now I think you're only allowed to be 2 people or something like that.
Oh wow! Right, so it's gone completely the other way.
Yeah. So because, I mean, we have a pretty what do you say? It's been pretty open all the time. So like you said in the beginning was, you can have 50 people in a small show, like acoustic show or whatever.
Were you still playing shows during that time, or
No, we didn't play at all. So we
haven't had any.
This is the closest to a live show I've been in a year.
Does it feel like it?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, and I'm feeling the vibe, man.
You know what made me nervous once? I forget what country we were in. We went to sleep. It was a really nice hotel, actually. It might have been Germany. And you said, "I'm getting ready for bed," and you had your headphones on. And I said, "Oh, what do you listen to? What do you like to listen to before you go to bed?" So Toby's got a very eclectic palette. He's into jazz, R&B, hip hop. So I'm thinking to myself, oftentimes on tour, I like to listen to Sade before I go to bed and really just kind of unwind. So I'm assuming it's something in that vein, except it was fucking Meshuggah. And it was literally the craziest music I've ever heard someone listen to while falling asleep in my entire life.
Yeah, but most people listen to Meshuggah in the wrong way.
Do you want to expand?
Yeah. What's wrong with you guys? They're just playing their music, and every part is a long cycle. So if you stop thinking about all the polyrhythms that's going on all the time, you find this longer pulse, which is very relaxing. It's like being in, I don't know, what do you call it?
I really appreciate that you're trying, Toby, and Nate's literally having a heart attack in the corner over there.
It's like being in an insane asylum.
It's not. You listen to it the wrong way. You're hearing it the wrong way. You're listening the right way, but you're hearing it wrong.
Toby, how many times have you seen me eat pizza off the floor of a van?
It's been sort of a thing that's been going on. I've taken that to me pretty much, and I turned you
onto it, right?
Yeah,
floor pizza.
I do it every now and then too, but it's disgusting.
Dario, do you know about what floor pizza is?
I mean, I could put 2 and 2 together for sure.
When it's cold enough outside, you can just leave pizza in the van in the box, and the next day you have breakfast if you want, or late at night if you're hungry and you've had a couple drinks. It's very delicious. It just has to stay on the floor of the van.
Is this like top tips, like survival guide for like young bands out there? Floor pizza #1.
Yeah, how to be an absolutely disgusting pile of shit by me.
Nate's 101.
Yeah.
So, Toby, how have you done with no shows? Like, how have you survived all of this?
Well, it's really getting to me now, because I've been recording a lot of drum tracks for random dudes. And what?
Can we solicit some random drums from you, please?
There are tracks that I guess you might have heard.
Cool.
And therefore I just try to be, since I have a studio in my rehearsal space, I just record for everybody that I can. And that's sort of
been enough?
In a way, but not. I mean, touring is way different. I mean, now I really miss it, because now it's been a year and it just sucks. It's not fun anymore. But recording is, I mean, I dig recording as much as I dig touring, but there's something special with touring that you can't really beat. Like the audiences and stuff like that. No one is watching me, and when I record, like, "Hey, way to go, man!" So It's kind of boring. I'm just sitting alone with headphones on and playing.
Do you play different in front of people compared to when you're recording?
Yeah. But I try not to, but I think everybody does, even they don't admit it.
Agreed. Very much agreed.
And that's a good thing?
No. I don't think that's good. I think a consummate professional would play the same in the studio. You know, John Bonham probably played the same in the studio as he did at Madison Square Garden, you know?
Yeah, but how would that be for me when I don't know where to start the drums? In a recording situation, I need to be in more control than I am live.
Oh, God.
But this all goes back to the point of why people go to live shows in the first place, is because they're getting something different every time. Like, you can listen to the same record over and over again, and you pick up the nuances and stuff, and you learn to love little specific bits of it. But surely, like, the danger of a live show, and people not counting things in right, or people not being able to understand the count in right, and stuff going a little wrong is the great bit of it.
Yeah, but I always enjoy, like nowadays, a lot of modern music it's too much for my taste. This is backing tracks and click tracks live and stuff like that, and nothing. It's not that big of a surprise to go and watch that kind of live shows. But when I see a band like we did, the last tour we did was with Clutch and Graveyard, and I mean, every night we were first out. And we finished our set, got our shit in the van, and then just have a beer and watch two great bands. Nothing can beat that. It's not the same every night. They changed set list and whatever, and everything is happening differently every night. So you can't compare. I mean, that's why people go to live shows, like you say. I think
agree.
They just want different. I mean, when you're on tour as well, you might see 20 shows with the same band that you're on the road with. But people going there might go for your show on a Thursday, and then Saturday it's something else. So they see band all the time. And I think people who are into live music they just want to see live music because it's different.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the whole backing track, click track thing is like a symptom of like the whole culture of people recording everything at shows? And there's bands like yourselves and Clutch who like they back themselves to go out and do a different but great show every night, and they don't care that it's different. But there are some bands that are maybe nervous that like their vocals aren't going to be perfect every night, and it's going to end up being filmed and put on YouTube, and then like millions of people are going to see the fact that, you know, they've missed a note somewhere, or they're out of time or whatever. Do you think like it's symptomatic of that whole thing that's going on now?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, yeah, but it's so hard to say. I mean, we play music for different reasons. I play music because I love playing music, and I don't care if one night it sucks. And of course it does, because you're just a human being. Yep. You can have a really shitty night, but the people looking, they don't care, because they might be in a very good place at that show, and therefore they're very happy. Yep. So I've stopped caring more and more about how I feel on stage. I just want to put the best performance out there. If I have a bad night and nothing is really going on, and I can't do any fills and stuff like that, I just have to play more simple, and then it all works out.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it better than that. I mean, but also I don't think it's symptomatic of people taping it, etc. I think it's symptomatic of the recording culture of rock bands trying to make stuff they make their records vary to the grid, and then it doesn't allow you to open up. You know, I it's just like anything else though. Do I think that all vocals should be auto-tuned throughout a record? No. Do I think you can auto-tune some backup vocals for a specific effect? Yeah. So it's hard to blame the click track for the way that artists use it. You know what I mean? It's more about the artists not wanting to take risks and wanting the music to sound a way that it would never sound in the first place.
Yeah, but at the same time, some bands are kind of, it's their thing to be, what do you say, perfect or whatever you like to call it.
Yeah, like a nine Inch Nails or something like that.
Yeah, when you have a lot of loops and beats and stuff. I mean, if they should pull that off totally live, it would take maybe 5 more people.
Right.
And but I mean, for us, I mean, when I refer to this, it's like, I like rock bands that just go up on stage, no bullshit, and just play their show and everything is fine. And they come off stage and say, oh, today was really shitty. Well, it sounded really shitty good to me. It sounded amazing. And like we said before, if you're in a bad spot or in a bad mood, that show is going to feel bad for you, but maybe for no one else. So
right. That's an interesting feeling. And I say interesting because I feel poorly about it. But when I am in my head about having a bad set and a fan comes up and says, man, I loved it so much, there's this weird guilt that I have about it where I feel like I ripped them off, like I gypped them from something. But the truth is, it's exactly what Tobbe said. It's just about getting outside your head and realizing it's not about you. It's about the people you were performing for. And if they loved it, then you did your job.
It's dropping that ego thing about being a musician and realizing that the show isn't about you. It's about everybody who's there watching it, enjoying it, and it's almost irrelevant what you think about the show.
Yeah.
In a way it is, but if you're having a very good night, then you play better. Or maybe you don't have to play safe, like I said. Sometimes you just feel like everything that I really enjoy and I think is very fun to play music, I can't do any of it today. And then it sucks. But that doesn't matter that it should suck for anyone else. So just play. Just play, man. How hard can it be?
Just play, man.
So, Tobbe, have you been picturing what it's going to be like when you get to play a show again? Have you had that have you visualized actually being sat behind a kit in a club or a bar or and rocked out?
I actually haven't. But I know I'm going to be very happy when the live situation comes back again, because I'm very sure that it will. And we have a tour scheduled for December, but it's been rescheduled a year. So we should have done it this December. And from the beginning we should have done it a year ago. So it's been moved 1.5 years forward. But it's going to be great when we do it, because I think people who enjoy live music are going to go insane when they can go to concerts again. People are going to get crazy. Yeah.
I hope the 3 of us can get out again soon sometime together.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, just not having a date to work towards has been the hardest thing of all of it. You're trying, me personally, I'm not picturing shows or anything like that because I just don't know when it's going to happen. If someone was on June the 1st, live music will happen, you can go and play shows again, definitely. Then I think I would start trying to get excited about it, or at least thinking about what it might be like to be at a show or play a show. But having had no light at the end of the tunnel for what is now a year and will be probably 18 months before we maybe get a definitive answer, has been the hardest bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a shitty situation. I mean, no. It's just shitty. What can we say about it?
I don't want you to cry.
Like
we could be positive too. I feel like I'm killing you here, Tobbe. Maybe we should just can we talk about Dr. Bombay now?
No, you're not.
I don't want to do it, man.
Don't go there.
I'll say this. Some things are just better left in the van.
Yeah.
Like floor pizza.
Yeah, leave the floor pizza in the van. So, no, but I mean, like you said, Dario, it's hard to not have anything to plan for.
No, completely. I mean,
we have a tour in December, but maybe it won't happen. We don't know yet.
How do you deal with that?
I just don't care anymore. I mean, it's gonna happen when it happens. That's my. I just let it go since we've moved it twice, and now the third time is a year. Maybe, yeah.
I agree.
So I mean, I just let it go, and I'm like, if I can record for people or with friends or make new music, then I'm fine. I just want to play music one way or the other, and if I can record, then it's totally fine with me because now nobody can play live anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I think it's quite cool that both of you have got like this parallel of like building a relationship with like a band like Clutch, where you've worked with and alongside them over like a 15-year period. Like, how does like fostering something like that even come about? Is it just a personality camaraderie thing like we kind of talked about earlier, or is there something else to it?
I think it's really simple, especially with those guys. It's that in the music industry, there are bands that are total bullshit, and there's bands that are bands. Mm-hmm. And the bands that are bands and real bands and good players and good dudes seek out other good people to be with and to turn their fans onto. Because, you know, Clutch fans don't want to necessarily see a polished radio rock band that's playing to backing tracks. In fact, I've seen it happen, in situations where they will openly hate a band like that, their fans. Mm-hmm. So I think the idea is that good stuff finds good stuff and gets turned on, and it's like a community of artists that think alike.
Yeah, I just think that some bands just fit, and bigger bands who need support acts and stuff like that, they try different stuff to draw more bigger audience or more people to their shows, but they realize that everything is not getting together too good, or how do you say it? Some stuff just don't work out, and I mean, that's how it is. Make it easy. Make it easy for you. That's what I'm saying.
And the show, you want the show to be good too,
Yeah.
The whole night's got to be curated.
Do you think that's rare, or?
With bands?
Finding that kind of...
No, I think... No, I don't think it's rare. I think most of the bands that tour a lot know what kind of band that they want to bring along on a tour.
Okay.
I think so. And of course, you have the same booking agent, so some bands just get shoved in there on the tour and maybe it doesn't fit. But most of the time, I mean, Clutch has been super nice to us, and they've said that we want them on this or that tour and stuff like that. But I think most bands know what kind of band they want on the tour. They can't always know if the persons in that band are a good hang, but at least this is the music will fit on the bill.
Sure. Has it happened much where like another band has like kind of gone out fighting for you, like, and being like, we want these guys, or we think this is a band we want to help?
Yeah, it is. It's been Clutch.
Yeah,
but I don't know. They're a different kind of band as well, because they're a band, but they're such a big music lovers. They just want good music, and if they like a band, they want to tour with that band because they really love their music, and think like, yeah, we want those guys on tour because it's going to be fun and it's going to be a great show every night and stuff like that. So
correct.
Okay,
that is rare. They're one of the few bands that I've ever known to not try to follow what is hip or trendy as far as getting the hot new opening band. They're looking at it from more of a like, what does the package look like to the crowd? Is the show good? I think it's what really what Tobbe said.
Sure. I mean, because there is obviously this business element to booking support bands, and if you book a band who can sell 500 tickets, you might be able to play in a bigger venue as a result, which gives a better impression of how your band is doing. It feels a little like not the way that stuff should be done, but it happens more often than not that way, because obviously this there's such a business element to it. So it is really cool to hear that there is another side to that coin too, where people are just doing it because it's the best overall package and it's something that they enjoy and they want to.
I think so too. I mean, if you could choose, if you were about to set up a tour and you would take, let's say, okay, we need 4 bands for this tour.
Mm-hmm.
Then you, as a, what do you say? If you're putting the tour together, you must be like, I want to enjoy watching every band, and I want all the bands to be the same kind of, on the same mentally disordered level, so that everyone can get along.
Yeah.
Is that how you go about it, Nate? It's all about mental disorder.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they hired me for a couple of tours.
it's what everybody wants to do. It's the same thing we said, taking the whole conversation full circle. You just want to be around people that have fun and bring a good vibe. And luckily for me, Tobbe, I've been lucky enough to tour with Tobbe, and you know, I've been lucky enough to have his studio drums on basically my whole new first solo record, and it's fun. It's because it's fun. For me, that's the number one reason. It's because it sounds like he's having fun when he's playing, because he is having fun. So then it makes the music sound better, and it makes the show better, and it makes floor pizza very much more delicious.
It makes it even better.
Yeah, and when he puts on very tight underwear and curls up next to you and you're sharing a bed, he's the best bed partner that anyone could ever ask for.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
a bit skinny though.
Very good for me. I'm a little thicker, so it's nice to have someone like you next to me.
you guys did look very ma and pa together, I gotta say. It was...
Was it you on the top bunk in Paris?
Yeah, it was me on the top bunk.
Yeah, you were looking down, yeah. I know what you were looking for there.
Oh, I know what I saw. Jesus Christ, I know what I saw. I don't know where else we can take this conversation, to be honest.
Where's the cup, baby? Pull the cup out, shake it around.
All right, we're good. Tobbe, you've seen the show. You know how this goes. I just pull a random fucking topic out of here and we talk about it for as long as we can possibly do it.
Oh
It's
my
filled
God.
to the brim. It's filled to the brim with his urine.
Of course it is. And some notes are just floating around in there.
Yeah, it's good to drink.
Oh, man. We'll get there.
I think I have a hernia.
I mean, I pulled out travel, but like... I pulled out travel, but I feel like we've discussed traveling together enough.
Yeah. Don't go there.
Don't go there. Man. I feel like we've covered a lot of topics.
But
like,
to say...
fucking accommodation. I feel like we've covered all this shit.
Yeah, so we don't even need it.
No,
No,
but
I mean-
the thing is about traveling is like when you get
we'll do
home
travel.
from a tour.
Okay.
We're just going to go a little bit. The fun part is that everyone that you know asks, how was the tour? I saw that you played in Paris, or you played in Berlin, or you played whatever city that they think is cool. And it's like, yeah, we arrived around 4. We loaded in, sound check, had some food, and played the show, and had floor pizza, or not during the night. Then we had pizza.
Yeah.
And then we woke up, had floor pizza, and left for the next city. That's the fun part, that on a tour, like the last tour we did with Clutch, it was just the 3 of us in a van. And we drove 10,000 kilometers in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Split between mostly me and Per. Thomas did some driving too. But, I mean, it was insane. So when I came home, I was like, yeah, so how was the tour? It was a lot of driving. I drove like 5,000 kilometers in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It was great. That's
Yeah.
why you have to enjoy whatever you can on a tour to be in a good mood.
I think, especially when you're doing that much traveling on a tour, like when you get off days, like you really want to like make the most of them when you're not spending all day in a van driving. And I think especially when we did that little 3-week run together, like our off days were a lot of fun. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned Berlin, because did we not have like a night off in Berlin where the soccer was on TV, and we went to that bar downstairs
that was
in
Munich.
the middle.
That
Oh,
was
Munich.
Munich,
Sorry,
yeah.
Munich. It was
Yeah.
a semi-final of the Champions League, and we were in this little pub downstairs in the middle of Munich, and we
Yeah.
had an amazing night. Like, I remember very well. So, I mean, I think that's what people are looking for when they ask you, like, what was it like being in these places? Like, the times you actually get like an off day and you can actually spend some time in a city is they're the stories that people are looking for when they ask you about travel, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And you get hammered.
Yeah.
When you should be resting, you get fucking pissed drunk.
Yeah.
You make
Anyway.
you make the next day of travel so much worse for yourself.
Exactly. But you're not smarter than that. When you're on tour, it's a way of relaxing at the moment, and you think that being drunk and have 20 beers is the best thing that can happen right now. I need as many beers as I can just pour down my throat.
Yeah.
I really need them. Yeah, but we have a long drive tomorrow. Yeah, that's tomorrow. We go there tomorrow. Now it's beer, and
Now it's beer.
now it's beer, and then then the day after is really shitty.
I mean, but all those long drive days are really shitty, aren't they? So, like, you have to take that chance to blow off some steam and go
Yeah.
out. And if getting hammered in a pub is your thing, great. If going on a walk around the city, because Nate, did you not go for a walk around Munich and have this whole like enlightening experience like same day?
For me, it was really crazy because that was the city. It was a city that my grandfather grew up in, and he left during the war. Well, the Germans call it the war. It was the Holocaust. But when you ask Germans, they refer to it as the war, and you're like, no, it was the fucking Holocaust. So my grandfather grew up in Munich, and I got to actually walk from where our hostel was to the apartment he grew up in.
That's amazing.
Like, I got to stand outside the apartment my grandfather grew up in, and then I came back, and I was very sentimental, and then we proceeded to have 15 beers and get hammered.
And watch a football game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think there's any other job in the world where you would get like that variety in a random day off in a random city? That
Very
is that
few.
part of the reason why we do it?
Very few.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how many people gets to see all the. This is gonna sound very funny, but all the bad parts of a city,
Yeah.
but in a good way.
Right. Right.
I mean, we go there. We go to Paris. I've never been to Paris before, and we go there and play, and it's like, oh my god, yeah. And we're there we arrive pretty early, so we have the time to visit this big graveyard and watch all the famous graves and stuff like that. It's great. I've never been to Paris, and I don't know which direction the Eiffel Tower is from there, and I don't care because I'm there at the moment and doing whatever I do. But then seeing the other part at this shitty hotel where we stayed. But that's Paris too. I mean, everyone is
Right.
like, when you go on a holiday with your family or a friend or whatever, you always go to the right places or the good places or whatever you like to call it. Mm-hmm. When you're on tour, you can end up anywhere, and it can be a disaster, but it's very fun. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Sometimes you go to the Eiffel Tower, and sometimes you hang out with Syrian refugees in an Ibis hotel.
Yeah.
Both are Paris.
We played Madrid once, or we played it several times, but one time we got this hotel, and the guy is just saying like, yeah, I've got a special hotel for you tonight. And we were like, yeah, cool. I mean, when people say that, most of the time it's good. So we go
I
there.
don't think so. I immediately think that this is going to be the worst fucking place on earth.
No.
100.
The thing is, so he goes like, yeah, and when you arrive to the hotel, if you see naked ladies running around there, don't be surprised. And we were like, Jesus Christ, what's this? And we arrived to the hotel. it's a shady neighborhood, and we got a van packed full of stuff, and we just like, okay, where's the safest place to park the van, and we just find that, and we back it up against the wall, and it feels kind of okay after all, and we go in, and it's a kind of fancy hotel, and everything is cool, but then the lady behind the counter says like, yeah, if you want to party, the bar is open, and we're like, oh great, yeah. We throw our bags in our rooms and we go downstairs and go to the bar, and it's a strip bar. In the hotel. The actual hotel bar is a strip bar.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, yeah. So here we are. What kind of beer do you have? And yeah, we got Heineken and we got Beck's. Oh, whatever. It's good. Just beer. Beer is fine. And we stand there, and after 2 minutes, you want to buy me a beer? And no, we just 3 guys on a tour. We don't want anything to do with this. We just want our beer, and we're fine with that. Thank you. And it's like, oh my God. And then we went to bed, and you heard all kinds of stuff in the corridors, and like and, in Spanish, and it's like, oh my God, where are we? I mean, come on.
Shit.
I mean, man. when you wake up in the middle of the night, just hear a man just like it's like, my God, where am I?
My stomach hurts from laughing. Fuck.
But it was fun, in a way.
Is that the weirdest place you've stayed?
In a way, yeah. Because it was so strange. Yeah, but I mean, Paris was strange in a way too. But
They're
imagine,
all strange in their own ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just want to go to the bar, and it's a strip bar. I mean, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes on tour, and that's the beauty of it too.
Sounds like you handled it very well.
Yeah.
Unless you were handling that man who was screaming
relaxed
in the corridor, and then that's a whole other concern.
I just let him yell for a while, and then he got quiet and all good.
I literally have a pain in my stomach from laughing so hard.
Have you enjoyed yourself, Nate?
This was a real pleasure.
It has been a
it was
lot
great
of fun,
fun.
Tobbe. It has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been nice to hear your thick British accent too, Dario. It wasn't wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Most of the time, I just speak to Nate, and he's like, whatever. And I mean, so to hear the real...
My stomach really hurts, dude. You guys gotta stop.
I'm just saying it was good. I haven't... How long ago was it that we spoke last time, Dario? Was it 2 years? 3 years ago?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, probably.
Well,
that's insane.
I hope there's a lot more to come.
I've
guys.
never been told that I've got a thick British accent.
Yeah, but compared to Nate, you have.
Oh, this was a pleasure, guys.
It's been a lot of fun.
I
feel like
what a pleasure.
We've said this before, that like actually having this podcast has been a really helpful way of dealing with it, and kind of reliving a lot of these stories is actually giving us some sort of purpose and momentum to keep getting through it all.
Yeah, this was the hardest I've laughed in weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. We came off to a great start, and like as soon as I got invited, you guys just laughing all over the screen, and I was like, what's so wrong? What's going on here? And you're just like totally all over the place, and I'm like, it was such.
Are you
a great
saying we
start.
didn't handle this very professionally? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think it was great.
Fuck,
this is how
my
it's supposed to
stomach
be.
hurts.
I mean,
From
how many
laughing.
how many podcasts don't you listen to, and they're all just super serious, and it's like blah blah blah, and they speak about whatever, and it's
Not this one.
No,
Never.
and
This
that's
one will never be like that.
That's good because that's how it's supposed to be.
We're here for a good time.
Yeah,
For sure.
All right.
All right. I don't think I could take it either. I've had so much fun. Thank you very much for coming on, Tobbe. It's been awesome.
I love you guys. I
Thank you.
appreciate you guys, and I will see you soon.
How do I stop this? Oh my
If that isn't a
God.
fucking teaser clip, I don't know what is.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Congratulations on making it to the end of another episode of Tour Talk. You can keep up to date with us across the socials at Tour Talk Pod, so that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share, and we will see you next week.